All right. A meditation you can repeat. Much more about the symbolism than the actual words. An experience of being more, of expanding beyond who you know yourself to be, to receive something new, to commune with the goddess, to invite co-creation, to be a theme in this coming year. All right, and we have time for some questions. John, who begins?
Begin with Helen.
And can they unmute themselves?
No. You should be okay now, Helen.
Hi, Dara.
Yes, dear one. Where do we begin?
Um, it seems like there's just big things every week. So, there's a couple of big things this week. So one was I realized, I had this huge healing around my mother in particular last month where, I really kind of understood she made this huge sacrifice to choose to be a mother who didn't love me, which is a hard thing to do, but that's what I needed in this lifetime. And kind of this big forgiveness around it. And so then I was like, okay, so that was in my immediate reality. And it came up because like I made this connection, there's a part of me that just I'm going to say this in an extreme way, but like hates Jews in Israel, because I feel tortured by them my whole life and suppressed and victimized. And so then I'm like, oh, I see the parallel, right? Like I had mom and Edward in my immediate life, and then I had the American Jewish community and Israel and the US government in the macro life. And so it's this parallel thing where since I create my own reality, I should heal this. And I'm going to choose to heal this. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go and create a timeline. And I had John's voice in my head because I do the group coaching on Thursday. So I heard John saying, okay, go. Is it in, after you're born, in the womb, before you're born? And then I'm like, okay, it was before I was born. And like, okay, go back to the first time. And what came up was it was all lifetimes. All like so first of all, then it was my child and my adolescent were both there. And like, the child was like almost hysterical. The world is unsafe. I can't leave the house. I can't like because of, the Jews and the US government and the Israeli government. Like I can't, it's just too and like inconsolable hysteria. And then the adolescent was like, um, you know, complete sense of not belonging. Um, and so then I'm trying to console them, and then um I have them taken out of this lifetime to stay with the god and goddess because they didn't even want to be here. And then so then I do this timeline with John's kind of voice there. And I'm going, further back, but all lifetimes pop up. And um, it's just gray. And I can't ever land in a lifetime. There's just this sense of like, oh my God, this was just a really bad idea. And I don't want to be physical. I don't want to be physical. I'm not going to land in a lifetime. And so I just kind of allowed it to stay gray and to not land. Um, and I'm not sure what became of it because I really didn't get any further than that. It felt like that when you were talking to me a couple weeks ago about the original terror. And so I just asked God and Goddess to sort of you know, lift the trauma and just let it be. And so I don't really know what resolved of all of that. It just felt really basic and fundamental. And then the other thing I've kind of been really focused on is I keep hearing your voice and Abraham's voice in my head, like if you're tired, it's resistance. And I'm like, why am I still so tired all the time? And like this weekend, I decided I've been wanting to do a vision board. I often do a vision board on January 1st for the new year. And I thought this year, why don't I have a vision board party? And so Harry liked the idea. So we invited a bunch of people over and I mostly organize the whole thing by myself. I go to Staples and Michael's and I get the supplies and send da da da. And most of the people, interestingly enough, most of the people I invited didn't come. And the people that mostly showed up were Harry's friends. And, but by the time they came, I was just tired. Tired. I mean, I was almost too tired to do the event. And it's not like, you know, it's not one of these things where I can blame Harry. Oh, Harry dragged me to something I didn't want to do, and I'm just doing it to please him. Like it was my idea to do this. But then once it actually came about, I'm just too tired to really even enjoy it. And then I noticed like yesterday, I want like I try most days to walk Jasper with Sandy. Jasper loves it. Sandy loves it. They like being together. And it's Jasper's time where he gets to have a long, rompy walk. Um, Instead of just 30 minutes around the block of his building. And but I realized as I was doing it, like I really would have preferred to take a nap. I'm tired. And I think maybe I'm just doing these things with a sense of obligation and not with joy. And I don't know whether I'm doing too much in my day or whether I'm doing it with the wrong energy. Um, you know, yeah. And then the other thing that was interesting was, most of my life when I wake up and I'm, in between the dream state and the awake state, my dreams have always been usually their mom and Edward and I are like in a coal car, but not in a coal mine, like in the mountains, and we're being chased by a monster. And they're always really stressful and scary, but the monster never catches us. And over the last year, I've been trying to heal them. And it was very interesting. I had this dream a couple days ago where there's two of the Lazarus people that I'm very close to, and they're husband and wife, and they're like the husband's driving a coach, like a camper, and he's losing control, and the wife is in like a truck behind him and losing control. And I've got Ruru, my one pet, with me for some reason, and we're not in the vehicles. And I'm just holding Ruru and trying to not have them run us over. And these are people I really like and I'm like very close to, and I think they're wise and I enjoy their company. And I, although I'm beginning to realize maybe I'm not totally in sync with them. I don't know. And then somehow we managed to not get run over, but they crash. And then I, Ruru and I are in like a hotel and we're super, super wealthy. I'm super wealthy. I'm not with Harry and I can afford everything I want. And I don't really have a home and I just decide whether I want to stay in this luxury B&B or that luxury Hilton or something. It was all very weird. And yeah. So anyways, all this stuff's going on.
All right, so let's begin with the tiredness being defined as I must be resistant. However, it's not always that. It could be, why are you resisting being tired? When your body is telling you when to rest, when your body has innate knowledge that comes from working with energies. So the earth consciousness is always available to heal the body, and the healing requires the dream state. That can also be represented with meditation, with going within. So as you give yourself some permission to, okay, I feel tired. I need to go within. I need to go into solitude. I don't need to be alone. I don't need to get alone. I just need to go into solitude, to go within, to connect, to be more connected so that you can understand better, okay, what do I need and what does my body need and what is it that is represented by this energy of tiredness? It can be resistance, but it doesn't have to be. It can be your body's way of saying, disconnect from the illusion long enough so that you can remember who you are. Because when you connect with higher self, when you truly connect to source energy, then you fill back up on the energy you need to create something new. So for those of you who are constantly in a creative state, I feel like it's the new year. I have to create something new. Well, you don't have to create something new. However, the energies support creating something new. And so when you have ideas of, oh, I would love to do this, or I would love to make that, or I would love to go here or there, you don't have to do anything about it right away. But when the inspiration touches you, is suddenly comes to the surface into the conscious mind, maybe make a note of it somewhere. So in your case, the vision board would be a great place to put those sorts of inspiration so that you can then decide more consciously. You can choose, is this in line with my future? And if it is, you can decide whether to manifest it or not. As far as your physical body goes, you had mentioned a few months ago that you are uh, making adjustments to your thyroid. Is that still the case?
Yes, I have no idea where I'm at. I am like, I definitely, so I still am not taking my medication. I'm only taking supplements because I'm trying to get my thyroid to restart itself. And my weight gain has mostly stabilized. And I definitely have more energy than I had before. And, but I am tired. But it's now been 7 months without medication. So medically, that shouldn't be possible. So that I think my it's got to be healing or, starting to produce thyroid hormone. My naturopath doesn't know I'm doing this, so I keep asking him to issue me a blood test, and he's like, oh, we don't need it yet. But I know he wouldn't approve of me not being on medication, and he wouldn't understand because he doesn't believe in energy work. And so I can't get him to give me a blood test to see where things are at. So I'm just trying to kind of pay attention to where my two biggest symptoms are whether my weight is gaining or not gaining and whether my energy levels. So I'm just kind of trying to pay more attention to that. To give me, if it was really critical, then I would just say to him, for the love of God, issue the damn blood test, so that I can tell. So I don't really know where things are at with my thyroid. Um,
Okay, but you have ways of measuring and so just to be aware that, okay, the tiredness could be related to adjustments being made, and that to meditate and revitalize your thyroid during those times is important because that is part of your test. Can I energetically revive my thyroid? And so there has to be the energetic work done in alignment with that choice that you're making so
and
that
is that
you're affirming.
that's where I have like I connect with the Mother Earth and have her send energy up to my thyroid? Is that that's the best way of doing that?
Whatever occurs to you, co-create it with your higher self and with earth consciousness so that you can the important thing is to infuse the thyroid with energy and then to see, is it mitigating anything? It may not. If it doesn't, then there's new information that's needed. As you say, wow, maybe I should just have the blood test done anyway, just to see where you're at, just to, because the desire to have the blood test, but the decision, well, I'm not being completely upfront of why I want it, is now creating a bit of a internal conflict around, if I don't have the results, I can't know. And then that goes into the territory of a lack of confidence behind what you're doing. So as you align yourself with, no, I want to know if it's working. And I'm a reality creator, so I can create tools that tell me if it's working. And so I can create the reality where the blood test shows the results I want or some other test, whatever's recommended. So as you become clear that you're going to see the numbers you want to see, then the test will happen. Does that make sense? So part of the
Mhm.
resistance is showing up in, I can't be honest about why I want the blood test, but now the blood test being withheld. So my illusion is withholding information from me.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? So as
Mhm.
you, and recognizing, oh, I'm writing the script where I don't get to know. I don't get to know whether it's working or not. And that creates a problem, a confusion or a disconnect because your subconscious and your unconscious are wanting direction. So Helen wants to heal her thyroid, but on some level doesn't believe she has the authority to do that. And to be fair, the illusion of the medical uh, input is part of the script you've written, is how do I know where I'm at? Oh, well, I go to a medical practitioner of some kind, even if it's a naturopath, it's still medical, to give me feedback. So if you want feedback from other means, then at this point, it's not part of the traditional feedback mechanism. So you would have to begin authoring a script where you get feedback in different ways. Or you could just let the traditional and non-traditional medical field give you the feedback. You
Mhm.
see the struggle there.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to know, but I don't want to know. It might be working, it might not be working. And the longer that you withhold from you measurements of your progress, the less certainty you have that it's working. Because you are here to show your work. You are here to know, is my programming working? Is my magic working? Am is earth consciousness actually giving my thyroid more energy? So you can turn to other means of pendulum or muscle testing, that sort of thing. to support yourself in between the doctor visits. But because you have a relationship with your naturopath where you're on some sort of protocol, you do have accountability to that system, which is important to honor. Does that make sense?
Ye-
So we're not saying
Yeah. The problem
because
is with him, I've done really great work with him in the past, but he doesn't believe emotions have anything to do with your physical state, and he doesn't believe in energy work. So there's there's now really a misalignment. And but I think he's very talented in a lot of ways, but there is a I'm not fully aligned with him, and so it's and I haven't found somebody I can, like I don't have anybody that I really I'm fully aligned with. So I'm just kind of in the between of, I work with an energy healer in the Ozarks community who I really like. I work with a naturopath, but I don't have anybody that I just am 100%, like, oh yeah, this is my person. So I'm just kind of weaving my way through here and there.
all right, and so perhaps to add something to that effect in your programming for the year, that in this year you're going to have resources that are in alignment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
All right, wonderful. So obviously there's much more in what you shared, but there's also magic in the telling as you tell your story of this is what I'm concerned with, this is what's going on, this is where I'm putting my energy and my time. You begin to understand, oh, okay, my subconscious speaks to me through my dreams. Fascinating. That Mother and Edward showing up. They aren't the monster. There's a monster chasing all three of you. Is that correct?
Yes.
And in a
But
sense,
that's been my whole life. Like even when I was like 7, I had that dream. And when I was 37, I had that dream. Like,
and
yeah.
so the question becomes something to journal about, meditate about is okay, who is the monster or what does the monster represent? What is the energy that I'm fleeing from that I instinctively flee from?
Except I think I've healed it like in the last years, I've asked my higher self to heal my dreams. I've healed it. And for the first time I've ever had a dream where I'm wealthy. And I don't know, I'm not even sure it was a dream. I think maybe it was me like connecting to a different parallel reality.
Beautiful.
Like, yeah, that was one of the amazing part of the dream.
Yeah, so
It
you
felt,
get to experience what does it feel like when there is total freedom? This is what I want more of. To take those elements that are in line with who you're becoming. So you're in your dream state, you're experiencing some of the this is it's these sensations, these feelings, this sort of way of being that you equate with having more than enough, having total abundance and prosperity. Does that help?
yes.
And then to consciously choose to add those energies, those resonances into your daily life. How can I be more this way in my daily life, where I can trust that the abundance is there? All right. We love you so.
And can you tell me about the process that I did the timeline?
Oh, yeah.
Do I need to
Well,
do more or is it
that there it is best to have it done with the guidance, because the guidance is from the coach helps you overcome those areas where you got stuck, so to speak, where you just didn't know what to do. Okay, what do I do with this? Now, what you did to go to the God Goddess and ask them to resolve it, obviously is quite effective. Being more lucid is important. As you ask for the positive learnings are what changes the energy. So as you understood, oh, this isn't just about me in this lifetime. This is an energy that's in all my lifetimes, which makes it gives it that weight then. It gives it that importance. This is something I came in to heal once and for me and all my lifetimes. And as you intuitively did, you went higher and further back into God Goddess and said, take this, help me with this. An appropriate response. There is a mystery there. Why are they gray? Why aren't they full of light? What does that represent to me? That it's gray. Normally, gray is it's not black and white, meaning there's no clarity. It's not this or that. And often gray, the color gray, is also sometimes can represent ambivalence or depression. And so as you just, not to go into the energy, but as you're hovering above it, looking down on it, what was the sense? What was holding things in place? What was holding that resonance in place? What was the resonance and what was holding it in place? What was the decision that was made that resulted in that? And we would call it a lack of consciousness.
I didn't want to become physical. There was a part of this, like once I really started, I kind of stayed, I didn't, once I tuned into the energy of being physical, I'm like, this is a bad plan. I don't want to come. But it was kind of too late. And I kind of plopped into this reality, but not wanting, like, oh, really shouldn't have done this. This was not a good idea. And, but I had already chosen to do it. And so I'm fucked.
All right. And so then you need to go before the events, all the events, where you are coordinating with higher self, with soul, with God Goddess on what would be the value of becoming physical. What is the promise? What is the contribution that you will make by choosing to manifest? By choosing to bring your light and your love into the physical plane. The impact that your presence has on evolving human consciousness. Each of you had the choice, absolutely had the choice. And each of you who are physical made the choice, didn't need to come. But there was an opportunity here that you decided, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of this experiment called being human in a physical body, to answer some questions, and not just to answer them, but to evolve consciousness. And so as you find your way back to that original inspiration, for each of you, it was a soul level choice that was made. And as you commune with soul and get a sense of that for yourselves, it's important to know that, oh, I decided to do this. And then very frequently, your experience is not unusual that once you enter the physical plane, you recognize this is so limited. I forgot I don't have access to who I am. I can only do this or that. And I come in as an infant. So then I don't even have language yet. I don't even have mobility. I don't have any of the tools or the magic or the physical presence that I thought I would have, because of course when you envision lifetime, you see it from start to end, and so you see the majority of the time is as an adult, and you don't appreciate what it meant to be born into the lifetime and have to grow into that adult self. And so that sense of, sometimes there's a sense of betrayal. Why didn't you give me all the details first? Where you blame higher self or soul or God goddess for not telling you all the details in advance. Why didn't you let me know? Why didn't you say it was going to be so different or so painful or so inaccessible? And so as you look to see what were your feelings, what was important, it's going to show up in the feelings that your infant had. And that leads to certain thoughts, and it takes you back into that. And it has to be resolved in order to fully be aware of the possibility that these lifetimes have been for you. And that this, your most conscious of all lifetimes, is therefore the most powerful as well. And as you let in, no, I came here to make a difference, a very particular difference. And that's important to let in. I'm not here by accident. I'm not here by mistake. And as you discovered, as you worked with, I actually had someone else's soul play the role so that I could benefit from the hardship. That was a sacrifice that they were willing to make for me. How beautiful that you understood that and that you received the gift of that. And so another layer of needing to forgive yourself for the design of the experiment. Did it need to be that painful? Maybe not, but it was. And out of that, you grew and became who you are. Does that help?
That's very beautiful. Thank you, Tor.
Yes, we love you so. And yes, if you ever wonder, am I meant to be here? Yes, we will always answer yes. It is not by accident. All right. And so we'll move on to the next one. Who is next?
Monica.
Hi, beautiful Taro. Good day. So happy to see you, and it's a new year, and one more new year to be success, and good health, and of course income. I my love interest Mel. Okay, I was not there when he came, and then so I text to him, okay, you need to talk to me, you can come. I've been doing that for a few weeks now. No response yet, but he's having surroundings where they're checking from there. So I don't know if he's into a mental state or something, because I need we're asked Tara to come in to go ahead and willing to hear, like I was told, willing to hear, patiently listening, open minded, and keep my mouth shut. And he's a good match for me. And just maybe whatever, not to have fear to come talk to me. Where that's what he wanted, and it's constant in his mind. And I want to see if he's going to be doing that pretty soon. I need I need Tara to with assistance with this. I'm creating it. I've been creating it.
All right.
And
Yeah, absolutely.
please,
As you really allow yourself to ask yourself what's important about being in relationship. What is the benefit to you? Who do you get to become in being in a relationship? Not just in falling in love, not just in receiving someone falling in love with you, but actually the next step of that, the consequence of that, the being in relationship as you dream that future, not just the moment of the instant gratification, so to speak, of recognizing, oh, I'm worth loving, but rather to play it out to, okay, what is important to me? What do I get to become? Who do I get to become? What qualities do I get to express more of in relationship? And spend time in your imagination in that space of seeing the relationship being successful and who you get to be. What permission are you giving yourself to be when you are in a state of love? Because that's the most vulnerable state. That's where you have the opportunity to grow, to become more, to expand, to explore different qualities, different aspects of self. And always there's going to be that immediate sense of triggering whatever issues there are around love. So the more you work those out in meditation, to become conscious of, okay, what triggers me is a fear of intimacy. Perhaps we're not saying this is necessarily you. Perhaps it is for him. Or perhaps it is a need to know I am worth loving. That you can give yourself in advance as you sit with higher self, to allow your higher self. We have designed the beginning of the meditation pretty consistently to always be about bringing your higher self into your safe place and then to commune with higher self. And in that space, as you let in how loved you are, and your heart opens and your mind expands, in that open space, now program for what you want, not just the initial beginning of a relationship, but what would it be to be in love for eternity? What would it mean to you? What would be important about knowing that? And let your higher self provide that love first so that you can heal whatever shows up, so that it doesn't have to play out here in the physical plane. And you don't have to get it perfect, but the more you are open to that, the easier it will be to manifest the feedback, being in alignment with that state of being, that love is my priority and being loving is my priority. And part of being loving is being willing to be vulnerable enough to receive love also. And so right now, the not calling you or not connecting with you is not so much about the other person, but a hesitancy to receive love because it's vulnerable. It's a bit scary. You have no problem giving the love, and this is true for many of you. I can give love all day long. It's not vulnerable. I know that I'm being generous with my love, and I'm giving it, and they may or may not receive it, but the giving part isn't the vulnerable part. The more vulnerability shows up when it's time to receive in return. And so practice that. Give and receive, and begin to balance that out and recognize, wow, receiving is fun. Wow, giving is fun. Wow, receiving opens me up more. Wow, giving opens me up more. So you see, they're both valuable and it need to be in balance for a loving relationship to grow and thrive. And so as you build that skill in imagination first, in meditation, for instance, you will find it to be quite easy when you get the response. You will be more than willing to receive that response. Does that help?
Yeah, beautiful Tara. As you were being very thorough with what you're saying, and thank you. I was doing all that, following through, and yeah, before you were right. Before I talked with you, yes, I was like I shut off, and then I opened because that's the first one that I see where his heart got big for me, and right now, and it just with your assistance and remove obstacles that you give him the push to, you know, I'm gonna do that, but he, I just go for it, and any obstacles out there, humans always want to intercept and ruin here. I mean, they're not going to ruin my relationship. This is going to be within God's grace and beautiful things, and I'm not going to be giving him sad things. I want to have positive all the time. So I need your assistance with my faith, my co-creation. That if you see him coming soon with this, if I do this, will he be coming soon, or I'll have to wait another? I don't know how much time.
So you get to choose. You get to write the script. And at the same time, the more when you allow someone in your reality to be more real, to be a soul rather than part of the illusion, the tricky part there is that they have a will as well. So you have a will, they have a will. You have love, they have love. And so to open to be in alignment at a soul level is what's important here. And so to work with your higher self, to bring in his higher self and him, to have a communion in meditation first, and to work out some of those energies of, I don't really know I'm creating any of this because, well, if I have to wait for it, how can I know I create anything? So it becomes important to step back and say, wait a minute, if I create it that I have to wait, what is my hidden agenda there? What am I avoiding? Or what if I get it really quick and then I lose it? Or what if I get it and then I can't keep it in the way that I think I should be able to? So as you see with love, the more love that you receive, the more the fear of the loss of love. Some people will not let themselves be in relationship just because they can't get past the idea that it's going to hurt when they lose it. And so as you understand, you get to choose, do I create love as a vehicle for more pain, more suffering, more self-pity, more victimhood, or do I create love as being an antidote to all of that? Am I willing to heal what separates me from love? So to work along those lines within yourself, and that will change a lot of this dynamic that you're seeing. Does that help?
Um, Tara, yes. Would it change with him? Um, like you said, be get ready. He's gonna come talk to me. Do I get ready again? He's gonna come talk to me.
Yes, you get ready again.
Yes, soon.
You get
Um,
ready. You prepare yourself by imagining how it will be. Who do you get to be? The preparation, the getting ready is I'm preparing for a successful meeting. Who am I in that meeting? Who do I get to be afterwards? What do I know about myself? What do I know to be true about me as a being of love and light? And when you really let that in, oh, this is about exploring who I am. And that's where the enthusiasm comes from. You want it to happen sooner. Of course you do.
yes, beautiful Tara. I know I'm not easy, but I believe he understands me, and he is willing to. And I match you good things, and I'm ready for a new life. And I feel he will be a good provider and nice qualities. And I know he's been wounded before, because he was in the military forces. Not willing to, but I will never stop giving back to humanity or the planet and asking and helping. I've done a lot, and will continue. I know my purpose here, and people got to know that divine source is real and the creator is real. The big chief and Tara, you're real, and I love you for all the for the information you provide and you being here in this beautiful physical body with Katrina and John. I would thank you.
Yes, we love you so. You're right on.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
All right. And who is next?
Henry.
Hello, Tara. Thank you for being here with me again.
Yes, dear one.
Um,
Where do we begin?
the a long time ago, Lazarus talked to me very specifically about stuff that ultimately anything that I can get into a passion about, that I can allow it to allow myself to create it with, or allow it to turn up with elegance and ease, basically. And so that came up in the meditation today. The parts of the meditation I could get it, which is always, going forward, that just to allow everything to be the elegance and ease, and that if there's anything that's happening, just think about the magic. Think, well, how do I want it to be? How do I want that to change? How can a miracle change that? I mean, just all the time in everyday life, and we've kind of talked about that before. And the problem with that is that, or not the problem with that is, but how I've taken it to be in my life is that I don't want to do anything. I just want things to. I just want things to just happen like that. I don't want to even kind of think about what they're going to be. I just want it to be delivered, and what I've got a big sense of this week is that the thing from the wounding and the thing in the background of everything is that I go along with what other people want. I feel if I just do what they want, then I'm entitled to have what I want, and there's a huge resistance to that, of course, in the background of saying no, but doing yes, and it's just it's got so heavy with me this week, and I was just that I don't want to do anything, and also you mentioned last week about am I am I going on the track that I'm going on at the moment in order to punish my higher self or soul or everybody? And I realized, yes, that, because I have to do that to get stuff and I'm not getting stuff, that where's my entitlement, as it were? And just getting this whole I can't be bothered stuff coming up. I can't be bothered to do stuff. And I got a sense in the meditation that there's an answer to that in what where the goddess took me and what the goddess was saying. I certainly hope so. I wonder if you'd give me a hint of where it can go as from the meditation, or what was happening with me and the goddess, or
All right, well, let's talk about the pattern first.
yeah.
So the resistance is so interesting because Helen wondered if there was resistance in what she was talking about, and yet here you're expressing it a little more clearly that any resistance is actually resisting yourself on some level. So it looks like somebody else's wants you to do something or be something or have something, and you don't want to. That's what it looks like in your illusion, right? So there are requests or demands being made, or but actually everything is something that you have on some level agreed to in advance. And what's coming up now is a sense of, well, how do I get myself out of this? Or how do I say no when I've always said yes? And I've always said yes, not because I actually meant yes, but because I thought it was the only way that I would eventually get what I needed or wanted. And so a manipulation, essentially. And so as you become more honest with yourself, oh, when I think I have to please them as a means of getting what I want, I decided that. I decided the conditions of how I'm going to get what I want. And you've been waking up, and so now you're recognizing, why do I have this pesky mechanism in the way? Why can't I just create what I want? Bravo for having that new idea of circumventing the old pattern of well, first I have to give everybody, not just one person, but I have to give everybody what they want, which is, of course, an impossibility because there's always new people who want something, or the people you just gave what they wanted want more from you.
Or they didn't even actually want it. I just
Well,
talked it
there's
up.
always that, you see, because as you say, you recognize that, oh, if I actually sit down and think about, did they ask me for something? No, I made it up because I have a pattern that says I must give them what they want. So I'm not going to ask them. I'm just going to assume that I know what they want, which is a form of arrogance, isn't it? And it alienates people because if you were to actually ask them, what do they want? What if you can't deliver it? What if you would fail? Well, then you would know that you're not going to get what you want, whether it's related to this person or not. And so you never want to know that you might not get what you want. And so what's happened is the I'll just give them what they want has turned into I'll decide what they want so that I can have what I want. And as you recognize, whoa, that was pretty tricky. As a child, it didn't occur to you to do that, but you learned it. It took too long to figure out what they wanted. It's faster if I decide what they want. And what that really means is I decide what I'm willing to give. And they should just know that then they should give me what I want. So that's another problem, is there's a lack of actual honest communication between will you give me, asking, truly asking a person for what you want. Will you give me what I want? Opens you up to the risk that they will say, no, I will not. So instead, you go ahead and have an idea of, well, if I give them this, then I'll get that. You've already decided you're going to get that over there, but you've also told the universe how you're going to get it. And you'll notice, particularly in the coaching, that what if you didn't have to know how? What if you let it be your unconscious mind and the universe's job of defining how it's going to get to you? That your true job in creating reality is to desire, imagine, and expect what you want next. And we say next because what's so right now is what's so right now. It's almost a done deal. It's happened, and a moment later it's the past. It has nothing to do with the future. And so the attention needs to be on what do I want next? And how do I know what I want? Well, it activates desire, which feels a certain way to you, and imagination, which inspires you in certain ways, and expectation is really a measurement tool. Where am I at about believing that I will have it? So the easy one is, well, if I know I'm going to go to the grocery store and buy strawberries, my expectation's fairly high if the last 10 times I went to the store, I went to the store and bought strawberries. I don't really go to the store thinking they're not going to be there. Although they might not be there. Sometimes there are supply issues. Sometimes there's snow in Florida and they don't deliver the strawberries. Very unlikely scenario, but on occasion, snow along the way between Florida and California has kept strawberries from arriving. But you don't ever think about that version of reality, do you, when you think, I'm going to go buy strawberries? So you have to ask yourself, when there's something you really want to create, why do you think of all the ways it might not work? Instead of applying healthy expectation that you've already learned from buying strawberries. Why not have the healthy expectation about everything that you say you want? And the question becomes, well, I don't yet have the belief, but I believe I will buy strawberries. And therefore I do, again and again and again. So then it becomes a matter of building belief. That's why we say expectation is about building belief. The more I effort and imagine myself having it already, the more I begin to believe it. And the more open I am to the universe delivering what I want. And all I need to instruct is with harm to none, with elegance, with ease. In such a way that is for my highest good. We'll add that fourth one for you. In such a way that is for my highest good. Now, is sometimes struggle part of your highest good? If you need to know that struggle is part of your past and you want to get rid of it, it might need to show up. It might need to pop up as you reach for what you want so that you can make a new choice around it. Wow, I'm really comfortable with struggling. Maybe I don't want that anymore. Higher self, help me end the struggle. Rather than believing, well, it is a belief, isn't it? If it's acting out, but you do have choice about belief. You just don't realize it consciously. And so you're practicing that mechanism of noticing, what must I believe for struggle to be here? What must I believe about reality to think I'm not going to get what I want? To think I have to manipulate someone else to get what I want? What must I believe about how things work, about myself, about reality, about others? It just depends on what your backdrop says. And what is your story? So in the meditation tonight, we worked through the story. It was a ballad that was sung for you. A ballad that tells the story of your journey of coming home. And it has cadence, it has drama, it has struggle and challenge, it has pain, it has beauty, it has joy and success. It's not one line that goes straight up to heaven. That's not what you're here to do. You're here to meander. You're here to explore. Oh, I think I'll take this little detour and see what's going on over here. Then you come back onto the main road. Oh, yeah, I'm here to bring all my lifetimes home. What's been very weighty for me? What do I want to work on next? And your higher self and your soul bring you new information, new tools. And then you work those tools and you notice something else over here and you go and take this little detour and say, oh, I wonder what this is about. And maybe you learn a new skill. Maybe you have a new relationship. Maybe you end a relationship and open yourself up to something new. Whatever it is, there's a journey to be had. And as you review your life, because many of you are at that point in the time of the double where you must make peace with your past. And it's important to know how much of my journey is my identity, is who I think I am. How much is pain a part of my identity or my image? How much has struggle been part of it? Many of you have ended struggle, and it's not part of you anymore. And it's hard to even remember some of the circumstances which used to be all you talked about. But now you're on to the next. You're exploring being someone more. And those stories don't make a lot of sense anymore. Henry, your stories are more now about going out and having impact, exploring communication, receiving magic and miracles. Yeah, there's still the mundane, there's still the struggle, there's still the I don't want to do these things. But what you're really telling your subconscious is, I don't really want to do these things. So can you work on in the background while I'm going out having fun? Can you come up with some solutions for this? And so as long as you remember, that's what I'm doing, then you really get to enjoy when you go out in the world. And when you come back, you look to see, okay, has anything changed? No, not today. What was I expecting to be different? Well, I didn't expect anything to be different. Oh, maybe I need to spend a little more time desiring, imagining, expecting what would be different. And that's how I will know that there are changes happening. Because that is still your responsibility, is to desire, imagine, and expect something new in whatever environment you're in. And of course, it's not natural at this stage in human consciousness to remember to do that. This is one of the maps you are all making. To be conscious, to live consciousness, consciously as consciousness, to bring in more of the resonances that you want and to release the ones you don't want. Because you are first and foremost energy. The form is an illusion. Hard to remember that if you're always only in form. But each of you have created mechanisms where you release the form in meditation and you go into imagination and you create a different reality there. And then when you come back out, you measure, okay, has anything changed? Is the universe getting the message? Whatever I just dreamed is what I want more of. And it's a process, absolutely, but it's not logical and it's not linear. Because as you really let in, the future is creating you now. What's important about where you're actually heading? The you that has that freedom already. The Henry that has solutions and isn't alone in those solutions, you see. So right now, reality is quite alone, meaning it's you in your apartment or your home. It's you going out into the world. And the relationships happen when they happen. Now, there were times in the past when you had family, when you had a partner, when you had a child, when you raised a family. There were times when you had new relationships. As you let in, okay, I have an identity of me as I am, and that's just me, that's Henry. And I have also these alternate identities that activated when I was in relationship. And there you need to make peace with who you were being in them. And that's that thread that you're addressing right now, is thinking everybody else is more important than I am. And your higher self says, Henry, as long as you have that belief, it's not healthy for you to be in a committed relationship. So why don't we work on that belief? Why don't we change that? So that love isn't about giving everybody else what they need. So eventually you get a little smidgen of what you need. That definition is bankrupt. It doesn't work anymore. It felt like a good idea when you were a child. Hey, this is how I'm going to make sure I get what I need. It seemed so easy, so doable, but actually it ended up being very hard because you never knew what they wanted. And they were bad communicators and they wouldn't tell you what they wanted. You had to make it up. You had to give them something and everything, and everything wasn't enough. So you see, that strategy that came out of a misunderstanding from the child, it was never going to work. But your child needed something. It was the best he could come up with. And it wasn't even only his idea. There's a world of people who are peacemakers who came up with exactly the same strategy. And so when you would see someone else doing it, you thought, oh, good, I'm on track. This must work. I'm just not doing it well enough. I guess I need to keep trying. But it wasn't supposed to be who you become. And that's what you're extricating now, is that identity that doesn't serve you, that peacemaker. The true peacemaker is the one who brings peace and harmony by understanding all the parts and the synergy and the whole that emerges, which is greater. And you have that, and you know you have that, especially in the communities that you become a part of. I can understand each and every one of them. I can value each and every one of them for what they bring. And when they know they're valued, they all participate. This is sounding a little bit like Dominion, isn't it? It's sounding a lot like the New World. And as you value that higher octave of peacemaker is who you are. And these strategies of the child and the adolescent aren't. They're just part of the lesser self who kicks in when there's fear, kicks in when there's terror, appropriately, wanting to survive at any cost. But the spiritual adult has different tools. You've been really working on imagination and activating your passion and your creativity and letting that spark your imagination and transforming your communication through that. And as you really let in, when I really decide that's who I want to be, and I do know how to listen, or I wouldn't be as good as I am at creating synergies in the world. But I need to claim that. I need to let that be the new foundation.
Yes, and all those things you're saying, I just want to chuck them all away. I don't want to do anything. And, my relationship with higher self has been, you were saying, ask your higher self to help. And so I asked my higher self to help. And then I find myself saying, no, I want to do something else. Or no, I'm going to do something else, which I don't necessarily want to do. And I mean, I imagine it's a lot of adolescent energy, and I can see myself doing it and just being so pissed with the whole thing, and just
So if you know it's your adolescent and you don't consciously know it, but every once in a while your higher self pops in and says, what if this is your adolescent?
well, it sounds
Then it really is critical in that moment to go to your adolescent and say, tell me what's going on and what do you want in your reality? This mess that I'm in is not your mess to fix.
yeah,
Because when he's showing up on your stage, you're trying to fix adult problems with adolescent tools. They don't work. And as you let him know, you know what? I really appreciate that you're wanting to help here because you're afraid I won't get around to fixing it. And I might not get around to fixing it, but it's not your problem. What do you want instead? In your reality, you can create anything. You have magic. You have the time of eternal youth and all the magic that came with that. What do you want to create for yourself in your reality? And as you give him that permission and that freedom, then you can awaken within yourself the knowing that I can create a positive reality. I've just been so busy in fear and avoiding in my adolescent that I haven't gotten around to even being in the adult in those moments. Now, you're not that way all the time, but as you say, I feel like I just want to chuck it all away and just be bad. I think I'll just
well,
be bad. And that means mad, or it means sad, or it means any of the ADs.
don't care. Yes,
Yeah, just be. I'll just be morose.
What's the oh yeah, I can't be bothered. Just I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
I mean, are you saying that this no? I mean, this. I mean, this no is. I'm thinking, well, I'll go and talk to my adolescent, and then the no comes up, and I mean, is it something?
So the adolescent, you have the thought, I'll go work with my adolescent, and then you say no? Is that how it happens? We're just asking for clarity.
Yeah, no,
Or do you
thinking.
actually go to your adolescent and your adolescent says no?
No, I'm thinking that I'm saying whatever it is that either I'm getting from my higher self or I'm just getting from thinking, well, what should I be doing now? And I get this no, and I say, oh, that's my adolescent, and then I'm, and then I think, uh, so I should work with him, and then the kind of no comes up again. And so is it just, is it,
Well, you do have a negative ego.
yeah,
You
yes, I haven't,
have to have a negative ego. An ego becomes negative when the meaning of reality is delegated. When the self I doesn't choose what meaning do I want this to have, then it's handed over to the ego instead of the self I. And the ego is not equipped to make meaning. It's not equipped to interpret meaning.
yeah,
The ego is only equipped to tell you what's so right now. Something very simple, as in, there's a mess on the floor. And then you, the self I, has to say, oh, there's a mess on the floor. What do I want to do about that? What choices do I have? Does it bother me? Does it not bother me? Do I want to do anything about it? Do I want to move it, change it, leave it alone? That's all the self I. When the self I is engaged in that conversation, the self I is open to new ideas. Well, I think I'll ask my higher self, is it most optimal to spend time on the mess, or is it more optimal to go out and explore? Or some other version. Maybe, oh, I'm really tired. Maybe I need a nap. I think I'll ask my higher self, is it more optimal to take a nap? Or is there something else I've been wanting to get done that I really should sit down and just do? Or when you have the conversation, I know I have a lot to do. I don't want to do any of it. I'm not going to do any of it. Now, what do you make it mean about yourself that you chose that? I'm bad. I'm wrong. Someone else is making me do things. Someone outside of me is making me live a life that I don't want to live. So you begin to see how you're disconnecting from your own reality and putting authority out here. And everybody sounds like a parent. Everybody sounds like my father or my mother or both. Now, who are you identifying with? If you hear parent in everybody, it's not the adult.
no,
Got to be the child or the adolescent. So it's not that difficult to figure this out. But then to do the work, as you say, it just seems like so much work and effort, and frankly, to the lesser self, it's an impossible task because the lesser self continues to be disconnected
yeah,
from the whole. It requires stepping into you the more to remember, I have a higher self who can help me. To remember, separation and loneliness is an illusion, even though it feels real.
yeah,
I can't actually literally disconnect from my higher self or my soul or God Goddess. Even when I don't believe I'm connected, I actually am. I'm just not conscious of it. And then it becomes a desire to be conscious. Wait a minute, I have had experiences where I was more connected. Why not right now? What's in the way? So the part of you that says, I don't want to do anything anymore, what is the true message there? Maybe the real message is, I'm being on automatic. So the doing is by rote.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
that is not what I'm here to be, do, and have. Maybe I need to reset everything and go in and set up the new state of being first. I just need a reset. So I go in and I connect and I fill myself up with beauty, for instance.
Yeah.
And maybe the way I do that is I have memories that are touchstones. Maybe I sit with a crystal that represents beauty or dominion or love or whatever. Maybe I have memories of a recent experience where I felt exalted. And I'm just going to fill myself with those memories. And I'm going to see myself living that, reliving it, and even expanding on it, perhaps. It is so inspiring. Now you're in a different state of being than you were before. Now you can ask yourself and your higher self, because you see you're participating. You get to choose. You get to desire, imagine, and expect. What do I want to create next? I know what I've created so far, and I can't see myself yet creating anything differently. I don't know how I'm going to create anything differently, but that should not stop you from desiring, imagining, and expecting something new. And if it does, what's arresting that process? Well, I believe that I can't have what I want. I believe it's going to be too hard. I believe I'm not enough. I just don't have what it takes. See, these are all beliefs. These are decisions that became beliefs as you're learning from the coaching process. At some point in the earliest past, a decision was made. I'll just please everybody. And then eventually someone will notice and give me what I want. Of course, I'm never going to tell them what I want. And I'm never going to ask them what they want, because that would be too vulnerable. But I live in a fairy tale that says, one day, someday, I will get what I want. There's a longing in that story that is relevant. This longing to bring all your lifetimes home is a similar energy. You were meant to create what you want. You were meant to receive from the universe what you want. But you didn't have the tools as a child. You didn't have the skills and abilities even as an adolescent. Though you got better at it. And even now you're still wondering, does it work? Do I need new tools? Am I enough? And every so often we remind you when you feel inadequate to what you're reaching for, you need new energy. Not from your current raw materials, but from the unknown. Well, how do I do that? So we guide you on a meditation. You can make it up yourself even, where you step into a space that you define to your subconscious and your unconscious. I'm going into the unknown. I'm willing to gather from energies that are beyond my current universe. I'm willing to have something new show up in my reality. Resonance magic, high magic. As you really let that in, oh, there's nothing to do so much. It's about being. And your world has not taught you that. These are the maps that you are all making. If you go and tell people you hardly know, all I have to do is be a resonance, and the illusion will follow. They won't agree with you yet, but there are quantum physicists who will agree, and they are measuring and validating what you already know. So as you let it in, okay, I'm making new maps. There's a whole world of things I can get agreement around. But these concepts are brand new. Even if you've been working with them for 30, 40, 50 years. It's just now waking up into the consensus. And so you have made progress. Is it enough? No, it's not enough. I want more. Good. That's what you're here for, to infuse the universe with your desire, your imagination, your expectation, to shape reality. What if it could be this? Yes. What if it could be that? Yes. The goddess always says yes. Not because she's a pushover, but because she loves you and she sees your beauty. And anything you can conceive is gonna be worth exploring. And so really let that in. Oh, every time I don't want to do anything, maybe I just need to be for a few moments more. And generate a new state of being. All right, we love you so. We know there's one more, and so we'll move on. Beautiful. And we thank you for your vulnerability, Henry.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you.
Yes. All right, John, who is next?
Carol.
Hello.
Yes, dear one.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff tonight that still touch what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about actually is my failure, my most recent failure. You know that I was at your Thursday meeting the last time where I spoke that I had found a condo that really was bearing my name, I should say. It resonates very much with who I am. You know, if you would see the pictures, you would say, oh, this is Carol, really. And of course, I didn't have the money to buy it. Otherwise, I would be the owner of it. And so every day, at least once a day, I was meditating and doing the exercises of manifesting and blah, blah, blah. And finally, Saturday, I was gloomy that day. And I realized that the condo was sold. So now, what do we do with that? I could accept the fact and move on. And knowing that there is parallel realities, I presume that if I really, really, really want it, I could also work again or continue to work at getting this condo. Let's say some type of a backtrack, or it's still on sale, and fool myself maybe somehow. I don't know. So I wanted your idea about this parallel reality where I could still work on getting this condo.
All right. And so the way a parallel reality works, really, we'll call it a split off.
Yeah,
There's the you that bought it, the you that
yeah, yeah,
and the you that you're conscious of is the one that is speaking to us tonight.
yeah,
That's the one where it was sold, and now you're sad, you feel gloomy and disappointed,
yeah,
appropriately so. You didn't
yeah,
get what you wanted.
yeah.
It was sold to someone else. Now, how familiar is that outcome to you in your life?
It's the story of my life.
Yeah, so it makes sense that your your reality would bring that up again, not so that you believe it more as this is the only way it is, but rather that I believe this is the way it is. And for me to have succeeded, I would have to let that go. So as you put it in the context, okay, when I reach for what I want, what pops up is what's in the way, is an old belief or a pattern of behavior or an emotion or a thought that I identify with. That's just the way it is. It's the story of my life. Now, interestingly, in tonight's meditation, there was a ballad sung, and in it are cadences. There's great moments of joy, and then there's also tragedy or sadness or despair. But it doesn't stay in any of those octaves. There is a cadence, there is a movement, there is a flow. So in this case, your higher self is presenting you another opportunity. Do I want to keep telling this story? Do I want
No,
this story to have weight? And if there's weight, then you know it's also not just this lifetime. That to heal this topic of disappointment, despair, gloominess, whatever it is, this sorrow of failure, that sense of what do you make it mean when the universe doesn't give you what you want? That I don't matter,
love. Yeah.
that I'm not enough. Yeah, whatever it is, it can be several sentences, doesn't have to be one. But whatever it's telling you, you hold there. That's the meaning I gave it. That's around surviving. That's a lesser self strategy for survival. See, Carol, this is the way it is. Pack up your toys and go home. Give up on your dream. See, it's safer to give up, isn't it? It's safer, but it doesn't hurt any less. And so you didn't, to your credit, you didn't give up on the dreaming. You didn't give up on the programming for it. You didn't give up on until the last moment when it did sell to someone else. You held that resonance. And we want you to understand there's a challenge here. You see, your subconscious, your unconscious are looking to see What's she going to do with this story of never getting what she wants or whatever the actual words are for you? Is she going to continue to believe it and reinforce it? Or is she going to do something different this time? Is she going to choose to continue to vision what she wants? This or something better? This or something. And part of it is the complexity of, okay, the consensus belief that says you have to know how the money's going to come. For those of you who have that, it can be very difficult to create miracles in the way that you imagine would be a miracle. I have to know how the money's going to come first. Then I'll put energy into wanting it. Now, we're not saying you did that, but there was that need to know, how am I going to pay for it?
It was twofold. Yes, it was twofold.
Yeah. And so then you scan your environment. Okay, in my current beliefs, I can see where it might come in this avenue. Otherwise, I just have to win the lottery. That's the only way. Now, wonderful that you assess where it could come from, but understand you're still limiting the universe. You're still saying it has to be logical. It has to make sense based on what I know of reality, or I don't think I can accept it. So when you look back on your life at the times when you did create miracles, when you knew they were gifted, that they came out of your imagination, that you didn't know, you didn't expect them, you couldn't have possibly known how they would come about. That's what's needed here. I don't know how I can create it. I don't really know how I can have that condo. All right, it's been sold. Now, does that mean it'll never be sold again? No.
Higher price.
It can be sold again in the future. There are many reasons why real estate gets sold or gotten rid of, or fire sales, or all kinds of reasons. As you give the instruction, within elegance and ease also means bring forth the means.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's struggle or suffering, okay, you got it, but you can't afford it, so you're going to lose it. Why would you want that? That's not elegant. That's not easy. That's not with harm to none for yourself. Because then it's just, okay, I get it, but then I'm going to lose it. So embedded in your programming, the optimal future, it's important to know that, no, what I create, my higher self, also brings the resources. The universe delivers it in a way that is elegant and easy with harm to none, in such a way that is for my highest good. So I'm growing, I'm becoming more of who I am in desiring this. I'm honing my skills of desiring, imagining, expecting. I'm also gathering, I'm aware, oh, I'm not enough. I need to gather new energy. So I'm practicing that. So I'm becoming more. I'm a much better metaphysician now for having had my dreams and visions. And I also want results. But I have to know that's an illusion. And in the illusion are always clues to the thoughts and the feelings, the attitudes, the beliefs, and the choices and decisions that are limiting you. When you see the you that has it already, what's different about her? What does she know to be true about reality and creating reality? What's different about her? Let the you that has the success be changed by the success. Oh my gosh, it's so clear now what I need to let go of. Because she is in dominion. She has confidence and courage. She is connected, full of grace, full of joy. Now, you are that mostly already. She is not that different from who you are. She is not that far off, is she? But the story that you said, oh, that's the story of my life, that would be worth letting go of. What if I wrote a different story? What if I remembered when I do get what I want, how it changes me, how I grow, how I become more gracious, how I'm more loving? I am able to be more loving, and therefore I receive more love. So it's self-serving. It helps me to receive the reality that I want. It helps me become more to be successful where I choose to be successful, because I get to be more of who I truly am. And so as you link those together, you'll become more willing to create it. You didn't know that you weren't willing. You are willing, but there were caveats. Well, I have to know how it's going to come. I need to be comfortable. I need to feel safe. These are all part of the lesser self, you see. When you, the more, doesn't have those requirements, but requires it to be with harm to none, with elegance, with ease, in such a way that's for your highest good. That allows room for a bit of magic and more chaos, perhaps. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah. Although I was really when I was envisioning myself in my condo, well, that bears my name,
Yes.
I was what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I was seeing myself inviting people, which I never do here. Uh, I was more open. I was more joyful. I was more secure. I was more, a lot of things more. And this is also part of the fact that I'm so disappointed.
Yes. And what we encourage you to do is to go visit the you that has it already. To be, to
Yeah, continue finally. Yeah.
yes, to step into the you that, well, this is how I would be different. And
Yeah.
to explore that way of being and use that as a touchstone. It will help you attract that resonance. It's the you in the optimal future that is bringing this to your attention. Letting you know you're so close. We can do this. We can create it. This is the qualities of being there are the steps to getting there. And that means spending some time, giving it meaning, giving it depth, perhaps writing about it. I'm in my new condo. This is my experience today.
I was
Exploring.
decorating it in my mind. I know I was shopping over the weekend. I was
Wonderful.
decorating
Wonderful.
myself. I'm such a fool.
But doesn't it make you happy to
Yeah.
activate those creative energies?
Yeah.
To have a project like that, to recognize, oh, I can bring more beauty into my life. And that's fun.
Thank you.
You're right on track.
Thank you.
Yes, and we will help you dream that dream.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We love you so. All right, John, is that all for tonight?
Yes.
All right, and so the new beginning. Absolutely, some resistances. Not what are these resistances that are showing up? Not recognizing them as resistances, but rather as, what if this is all I am? What if who I want to become is just a whim, an imagination, a fantasy? And it is in imagination that you begin the creation. And yet, as you give it depth, as you give it meaning, as you give it mattering, bringing soul into the imagining is what gives it mattering. It matters to me if I create this. It's meaningful to me. It allows me to become more of who I truly am. The you that has it already is helping you see what the resistance is. And so rather than judging yourself for having a resistance, oh, okay, I need to give that up. Who would I be if I gave it up? Who would I be if I acknowledged, as Helen did, that, wow, I designed it this way. So for my benefit, but now I've grown, I've changed from it. I don't need it anymore. Can I forgive myself for holding on to it? Can I forgive those who played the role that supported me in that? Who said the script, yeah, you should just give up on your dreams. You just settle for what you have. Don't be greedy. You should just give up. That's the script that needs to be let go of. What do you want to hear instead? What would be important? What would be loving? What would you, the you that has the success already, tell yourself right now? All right, beautiful. We love you so. And so we go for now with love and peace until next time as we bring Katrina back.